You already know what time it is. Y'all already know it is Monday. It is 4 p.m. Eastern. That means it's time for a little, what we like to call crypto cost fire action. We're going to have a little fun. We're going to do a little debate. We're going to figure out something that we're going to talk about that we'll have a difference of an opinion on. But obviously, we want to get through the next 24 hours, really. I mean, we'll probably, when do you start seeing results? By about like 8 o'clock, 8 o'clock at night or earlier?
Yeah. It depends on what it's for.
Presidents.
I think that we knew by the time the morning, like everybody went to bed on 2020 when the votes had not been counted, saying, "Oh my God, Donald Trump has won everything in the history of everything that's ever been won." And then we woke up the next morning and he had lost the election because they're counting mail-in ballots and stuff like that. So now what we have
They had to
is
go
a
to the storage facility. We talked about this last week. They had to go to the storage facility to go fabricate some more.
Exactly. Turned on the printers and did their thing in the overnights. But what really happens is you had early voting, so the votes were going to be counted earlier. But actually, there's so much early voting going on across the country now that we don't have that same problem. I don't think. I think it's actually going to end up a little bit faster. We'll probably know, by nightfall. I mean, I'll put it this way. Republicans had always previously been day of voters, but now it looks like, and I think that a lot of people are mobilized, young people are specifically mobilized. So I think we'll know pretty early, what it looks like ultimately when we start to see the maps and we start to see the layouts and stuff like that. And if we go to bed with Kamala in the lead, I don't think that it flips and Trump doesn't magically take the lead in the middle of the night or anything like that, because that's not how the votes are counted. So, we might know pretty quickly. I don't know if we get a surprise like Iowa is on the. I mean, there's places that shouldn't be on the, on the docket here that could flip blue. Just wild stuff. So I don't know yet. I'm hoping.
There's a couple states. There's a couple states who said that they probably were not going to be able to certify the results the night of, right? There's several states. So we anticipate this taking possibly a couple days.
Well, nobody certifies until December 17th. I mean, you have until December 17th before we start the certification process. So you have plenty of time to make sure you have the opportunity to count, you have the opportunity to recount, but it doesn't take that long. The place where it gets all screwed up is very simply, we don't have blockchain. If we had blockchain for the votes, it would be done and over with by midnight.
That probably is a very good discussion question or debate question. Is, do you think, and knowing that, let's take for instance, and this is what I've been saying in the morning show, right? That Trump wins. And in the first 100 days of the administration, they mentioned something about crypto, and it's, it becomes that important that it becomes that, that early on talking point, maybe a focal point. We talk about the strategic reserve, all that kind of stuff, whatever. Is that enough then to say the next election is going to be run on blockchain because we are going to have not fully integrated 100%, but our president and the vice president personally own crypto. Our country is the largest holder of Bitcoin already. Could this be the moment where we say, you know what? Let's do this. Let's put voting on the blockchain. Enough is enough. No more scams. The Democrats did it in 2020. The Republicans did it in 2024. That's it. We're done. 2028. We're going digital.
Don't think there's a chance of it for 2028 because, I mean, you have to break down like what does blockchain do for us, and it would take a newer system than Bitcoin. And Bitcoin's the big thing.
The Dominion machines, right? Or put them on blockchain.
Well, the big thing right now is Bitcoin. Bitcoin's too slow. It's not gonna work.
Oh, come on. So we could do SWI. We could do shit. Fuck, man. Any blockchain would be fine.
The only blockchain that the government's going to use is a permissioned blockchain that is controlled by the government that would do that. Like, so, it doesn't matter whether it's SWI. You could create but I mean, a lot of these blockchains, let's face it, are kind of interchangeable. So,
True. Yeah,
have
yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like
permission.
you could just use anything. I mean, they don't need a token, right? It could run on Hedera. I mean, it could run on. Go
But
ahead.
these are the same people that instead of looking at this in a progress standpoint, even the progress people like Vivek Ramaswamy, he
Mhm.
wants paper ballots only. So
What? Does he
you have a
really?
yeah, you have a long fight. Look, muddying the don't get me started.
Get
Muddying the
started.
waters
Hey,
on
hey,
everything
get
is
started.
look, there was an old saying back in the old days, and I think we'll get back to that pretty soon, which is why I don't think it'll happen. But if everybody got to vote, Republicans would never win another election, not presidential anyway. So if everybody was
Don't you
voting,
think
because you got to
people
remember,
don't you think people are getting tired of this, like of the gaslighting and the bullshit? And people see it, man. They see it. You're look at the whole J-Lo thing. Like they paid J-Lo to come out there and fucking fake cry, and now she got memed to death because it's just like, oh, you're gonna cry about this, but you didn't warn anybody about Diddy. You were there when he was diddling at whatever. What the fuck? Why are we gonna listen to you?
well, but and now listen, when you say that, multiple times, and over the last bunch of days. And by the way, I don't see anything about J Lo because I've muted all the fucking crazies, so I don't
Smart.
see any of that anymore.
That's smart.
But what I have seen is um, um, what do you call it? The shit. Now I forgot what I was going to say. I picked the wrong week. Quit smoking crack, man. Jesus Christ.
Man, sometimes you just gotta just cold turkey for a couple days. That crack,
No, what I was going to say is it- everybody's getting gaslit from somebody at this
Yeah.
point,
Well, oh yeah, absolutely.
and nobody knows what is or is not real, even when it is real. The standard by which we always look at our elections was poll results, stuff like that. We got it wrong in 2016, or at least most people got it wrong in 2016. Well, then those people in 2016, if you're MAGA, you're like, they got it wrong one time. So that must mean they got it wrong every time, bro. Because that means like they could never get it right again in the future because like they got it wrong one time, which is retarded. I mean, I'm sorry, which means it has an extra, which means it's Elon like. That's what I should say. Which means it's Elon like.
Artistic.
Yeah. But once you do that, you change your variables. Like you got it wrong, you go fix it. Which is why in 2018 they warned us, "Hey, Democratic wave is coming." And everybody was like, "Oh, you're fucking lying because that's what you do. You're the machine and blah 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 blah." And then what happens? Democratic wave comes in. And then in 2020 they're like, "Joe Biden's going to win this." And everybody's like, "No, cuz everybody, all 945 million people in America are all voting for Donald Trump. So you're like completely wrong about this." And stuff. And then in 2020, he
Wait, let
wins.
me ask you a question. Can I just ask you a question really quick?
Yeah,
Typically, the stoners and the burnouts are the liberals. So why are you giving the hippie voice to the Republicans who are more like should be more stuffy? Not
because the burners, they're the ones that converted and changed the outcome of some of these elections. The burners, the Bernie Bros, they swapped sides in this. They went from, and really it was over
they're stimmy. They
it,
got their stimmies and then they got stingy.
well, it's what my cousin Shaquita calls the Churgens. It was because they's attacking the Churgens, and that was Bernie's. That was what a big thing for the Bernie Bros. And then because we had a Comet Ping Pong and Pizza that had no basement, had kids in the basement that didn't exist. It
Hot dog
lost a
candy or
lot of
whatever.
people to it. So that created a bunch of those hippie liberals just swapping sides. And instead of sitting in their big cities, smoking the Dubus Maximus and talking about, how we need a woman president, instead of that, they went into the suburbs and into the country. And they were just like, let's just get high and build a shelter. It's going to be so sweet. I mean, that's really what happened.
Sounds reasonable. And so at the end of the day, that's the reason why we can't have voting on the blockchain, I suppose.
Well, it's because we won't get a consensus yet. What it
How?
would take.
But at some point, change is uncomfortable, and at some point, you have to say, I think enough people would be like, "Fine, like we get it. No one can cheat. Then it's uncontested. Like no one can fucking complain anymore. It's like your
Here,
vote
tell me
matters."
something. Tell me a fact. Tell me a big fact that's absolute and is not even open for debate. And I mean a fact that you could prove with science. Like, for example, if
Yeah, yeah.
something rotates, it's a circle, right? There's no chance that the earth could be flat if in fact it's rotating, right? We
There's
can we
no
can
chance.
reproduce. We can
There's
reproduce
no
that.
chance that an election actually determines who becomes president. It is already predetermined. That's a fact. There you go.
That's wild. That's wild. But at the same time, yeah, pretty much. I mean, you're picking the two dumbest onions on the apple tree to eat strawberries from. Do you know what I mean? Like it's absolutely crazy that the choices that we get are created in a binary system of let's find this person who's willing to play ball the way we want to play ball. And the very cool part was we were.
Do you think that's part of that's part of the whole control narrative though? And I think that's part of the Democrat kind of platform. And that's why they love the whole idea of the restrictions during the pandemic and how they could control people. And it was fear mongering. And it was a way to really see who's going to do who's going to do what they're told, I guess, at the end of the day, where, I mean, hey, hashtag pure blood.
There is, I think, some like the hard part to any kind of argument is because there's so many gray areas. 90% of everybody wants what's best for America. 100% of those 90% don't agree on the path forward. And then you have about 10% of people who are just anarchists who just want to thumb their
They
eye
just want to
in
do what's
every
raw
system.
opposite, right?
Do what?
They just want to do what's complete opposite.
Right.
Fuck the system.
Well, put it this way. Here's the question, and this is a very simple question, and it should speak volumes. Okay, is Russia a good actor on the world stage or a bad actor on the world stage?
This is going to be controversial for me to say this, but I think that we've been lied to about Russia. I think the narrative has been spun a certain way. Is Putin a gangster? Absolutely. But is he as bad as our media makes him out to be? I don't believe that that's the case.
Okay, so what would make you think that? And consider before answering, consider this: did he or did he not invade and retake Crimea? And is he or is he not invading and trying to take another sovereign country in the Ukraine? And before we go to that, there were no elections in Crimea indicating that they had decided to rejoin Mother Russia, nor were there in the Ukraine. So tell me how we're being misled by it.
Well, before we get into that, it's always my favorite joke. It has something to do with Justin Bieber or Justin Timberlake and Russia, right? What's his favorite part? Crimea River.
The Crimea River.
Yeah. Okay, so what was your question?
Well, my question is, considering that they invaded Crimea and took it over without a due process, without an election, and they are attempting to do the same thing in Ukraine. And by the way, I do understand,
What the fuck do I care? First
but
off, I
I
don't live
understand
there. It's
I
not part of
understand
what
the
I do.
need.
What did America do? We came in here and we just pillaged and raped and we took over. I would be a hypocrite if I said anything different. Like that's what I'm Italian by heritage, Irish. I come from Europe. My family comes from Europe. We weren't like part of the whole native culture thing. Like we, immigrated whenever it happened. So I wasn't a part of that, but like that's like what America did. So if Russia has to do that to Crimea, or if they've got to do that to Ukraine or whatever the fuck, like that's their business, not mine. I don't care.
Okay. So let's stop. And I'm not defending America in this context because America is the villain in a lot of stories.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But back then, we didn't know. We didn't communicate very well with people. We didn't understand people. All we did was push people out to make room for our own territory. And there's always bad actors, and there were bad actors. So that is 100% true. We were the bad actors in the building of America for a noble purpose that we consider. Now, if you apply the same logic to Vladimir Putin and say that he is the bad actor for a noble purpose of realigning Mother Russia, to what purpose is there other than in order to continue to push communism? Because that's what he's doing, is he's asserting his superiority and firepower in order to take back countries that chose to leave that union. So if you say he's a good actor on the world stage, how do you come to that point?
I mean, I don't know. I just
By
first
the
off,
way, two things can be
I
true.
don't trust our media, but two, also like, if that's the case, and listen, like, I don't know, I would have to take a look and see what main role he had in the forming of BRICS, right? But if BRICS is trying to do some, maybe they had the wherewithal to know, like, all right, the US dollar is on its way out, like many years ago. And they're like, okay, we're going to set this up to save the world because, you look at, historic periods throughout time where you've got the reserve currencies, they only last a shelf life of 92 years, and we're like in 130 or something like that. Like, so we are well past, we're some stale ass moldy ass bread on the shelf, you know what I mean? Like, and so maybe, he and his buddies said, hey, listen, you guys have been treating us like dog shit all these years, we're gonna make what's next and what's better. And all the countries, because if you look, there's like 153 of the 190 countries in the world have interest in joining BRICS at some point. Like, they just added a bunch of nations last month, and at their meeting in October, they had 9, and I think they just added 14 or something like that. And so, like, it's growing. Like, it's growing, and these are all countries that we've sanctioned, that hate us, that we have just treated like shit for years. Like, Cuba just joined this year, so that means they're going to have presence 100 miles away from Key West.
So, but to go back, your answer is you don't have an answer on how he's a good guy because you deflected it over to BRICS and
No,
turned it
no,
into
no.
something
So my
different.
answer of why I
How is
don't
he a
think
good how is he a good influence on the world stage? And
I'm
if
not
your
I'm not
argument is
saying I'm not okay, so I'm not saying that he's a good influence on the world stage. I'm saying that he's possibly not as bad as our ecosystem here makes him
true,
out to be, right? They lie to us about everything, and this is just like a feeling you have where it's just like, again, he's a gangster, he does some gangster ass shit, that is Putin. Like, he's not a saint, I'm not calling him a saint, but I don't think he's as bad as, again, as we make him out to be. If he is trying to find the way for the world, or if he, and again, the rest of the original BRICS nations are trying to find a way to move forward past the de-dollarization of the world once it collapsed, because it's coming.
yeah.
And
Well,
that's that again, it doesn't mean that he's a good guy. It just means that maybe he's smart, or he's positioned himself well. I don't know.
right, and to be fair, like, Ukraine are not ultimately good guys either. It doesn't, the truth of the matter is, the same as Russia has this gigantic Nazi front, so does Ukraine. So
Right.
there are
Ukraine's
bad
like one of the
actors.
like it's like
We
one of
got
like the
Proud Boys
worst places
marching
in the world.
around here,
Exactly.
which some of us like and some of us don't like. We've got Nazis in America that some of us like and don't like. I lived in Ohio for a while, and when I first got there, one of the biggest articles in I think it was called the Plain Dealer, Cleveland Plain Dealer, was in the op-ed sort of section. They were like, the biggest Klan rally in years was going to happen like just south of Cleveland, because it turns out that Ohio is the biggest bastion right now for the Klan in the country.
Wild,
17 people showed
wild
up.
like this.
17 people showed up. They put articles out about how dangerous this is for 17 people. So I understand that the media is manipulative, but let's also go with this. Ideologically, people believe in a certain set of principles, and if we believe that democracy is the best way to address concerns in the world, if we believe that democracy works, if we believe
But
that,
but honestly, like, that's a debate. Do we actually have democracy, or do we have something completely different?
uh,
We like an
we have
like an
a
imperial,
democratic process.
huh?
For the purpose of the United States, we have a democracy. It is a vote of the people, for the people, by the people. So the answer to that would be yes. But at the same time, we do have a constitution which allows rights to 50 different mini nations called states
A republic.
that are allowed to make rules that are not covered under federal rules. And we work together to promote a more perfect union. So, do we have a democratic process? Yes. Is a perfect process? No. Can it be improved? Obviously. But is there a better one in the world? No, there is not.
But so but that's, I mean, that's debatable depending on, and I get things are different. We like to push this democracy on other countries and other parts of the world, and it may not necessarily be what's right for them. Do you think that having a democracy is really the best solution for everybody, or is it,
Nope.
case by case
Absolutely
basis?
not. Absolutely not. I think that we do that for two reasons. Number one, because we are a military machine and it is very easy for us to go in and fight. A lot of people complain about us giving money to Ukraine. We haven't sent a dime to Ukraine. We send our used military hardware, and then we pay McDonnell Douglas and all these different places, Raytheon. We pay all these people to rebuild our own arsenal, but we call it money. So when we send $10 billion to Ukraine, we send them $10 billion in tanks, and then we spend $10 billion making more tanks, creating jobs for Americans. So we are a military industrial complex. So there is poison in our well, in that, Lindsey Graham has never met a conflict that he doesn't want to invade, you know, because that's a testament of who he is. But it's not because he's an evil, mean person. It's because his constituents are largely Raytheon employees, McDonnell Douglas employees. That's where they build the hardware. That's where they build the tanks. That's where they build the jets in his area of whatever Gayistan, or whatever the name of the country is that he's in. That's the fucking butts is bad, I think is what it's called. I don't remember. It's a Russian name. It escapes me right now. But he's not doing it because he's evil. He's doing it because he's trying to protect the jobs of his constituents.
Right.
You know,
Yeah, so like, and I had heard that like a while back when, and it does, it riles everybody up when we saying that we're making these big monetary donations to other countries and stuff. But at the end of the day, when we got to the whole North Carolina thing, this is where someone like really explained it a little bit more to me, where it's like you said, it's really just kind of debt. Like, we're passing around debt. That's why like our country doesn't have money to give anybody. We're fucking broke as a joke. We literally can't give, but we can give debt. And then that's why they couldn't do anything for North Carolina victims. They're like, we'll give you $750, but it's a loan because we're broke.
Yeah. But and you know what? That wasn't the end of that. There's still aid going out, and there's still opportunities that you can have
Yeah.
to get more money. It's just that, listen, we're in a binary system that tries to take everything and turn it into something else. Um, we Donald Trump, everybody, Donald Trump, the Joe Biden says Trump supporters are garbage, right? And I know that that was not what he meant, but that's what he said. Or I mean, at least I understand that when I looked at it,
It's
because
how it came out.
I knew I'm being gaslit. So I went back and I watched the whole thing. And he was referring to, and it's Joe Biden, so he's going to screw it up somehow. But he was referring to Tony Hinchcliffe. Like, it was clear he didn't refer to Tony Hinchcliffe, but he was trying to refer to Tony Hinchcliffe as the only garbage I see is the person around him. Do you know what I'm saying? And I understood what he was trying to do at that time, but we took it and we ran with it and we turned it into something, a little bit more wild and scary, if you will, because that's what we do to scare people in this binary system. Oh, I just lost you.
Yeah. So I am actually, I was looking at an article from the Associated Press. What happened here? Why is it like frozen? That was wild. I think I'm back now. That's
Yeah, you're
glitchy.
back.
Okay. So I was looking at an article about the Associated Press, and yeah, I mean that's what it says is that he literally that's what he was talking about. But you can take anything out of context, and it is what it is. Um,
Even if you know that, it still sounds like it to me. Like even knowing that he's talking about Tony Hinchcliffe, that's still the way that he said it was Joe Biden level. You know what I mean? Like he doesn't know what he's saying half the time. So he's having this conversation and he's vilifying it. And the important part here is who condemned the comment immediately? Kamala Harris said that is not what I think of Trump supporters. I don't think that they're garbage. I think that sometimes they get bad information, but I think we all get bad information sometimes. Like she
that you got.
immediately
I mean,
distanced herself from it,
at the
but
end
it
of the day,
doesn't matter.
the
It
troll
doesn't
level,
MAGA to matter, or it doesn't matter to MAGA. I forget. It doesn't matter. The truth never matters. How it makes you feel is what matters. So what did he do? He got into a dump truck labeled, and look, by the way, I've never seen a more accurate description of the Trump campaign than Trump being on the side of a garbage truck and
hey,
being
yeah,
inside a garbage truck. I've never seen anything more accurate in my life. I don't think he was realizing he was self-owning at that time, but he sure shit did. And everybody just started wearing garbage for Halloween. And,
hey, I'm just gonna. Hey, by the way, you just insulted about 500,000 people because there's 500,000 people that they work in garbage, man.
and here's the worst part. The worst part of it all, when you completely broke it all apart, is on September 27th, Donald Trump is having a one of his rallies, and what does he say? Kamala and her Marxist, communist, socialist people, they're all garbage. Everybody's garbage around her. They're all just garbage people. He did it first. And it didn't matter because guess what? If you tell MAGA, then they're going to say, well, yeah, that's because they are garbage. We're just not. You see what I'm saying? Like there's no win or there's no right answer to it all. It's just we're in our own chat bubbles. We're doing our own chat bubble shit. And that's just the nature of where we are as a society right now. We'll get over it. Like we're just not inoculated yet.
Soon as the student, I know what's going to be great is to literally get through this election. It's been fun for like some kind of the weird person inside of me loves the social media aspect of it. To like put something out there. Like today, I was this morning. I put a picture of a bunch of girls in bikinis. I asked Grok of GPT, right, ChatGPT or Grok on the AI on X to do this, and I put this, and people were getting like mad and like sending me messages and even posting on the thing like you're an idiot, like this is AI. It's like no shit, it's AI, you bozo. It's just it's fun for the engagement right now, and like whatever, like people can just take it easy because at the end of the day, in just a few days, it's all going to go away, and we can all just go back to normal life, and we can find something else to fucking complain about, and the social media world will be all's well again.
Well, can I tell you how this is going to play out so that everybody here knows and they're going to be real mad because I told them?
Yeah.
Kamala Harris is going to win. Donald Trump is done. And here's what's going to happen immediately afterward. Trump is going to cry. He's going to want to invade Washington, D.C. He's going to want to fight again because what he doesn't want to do is he doesn't want to face the consequences of whatever he's done. Okay. Doesn't want to face those consequences. He's going to fight and fight and fight and fight. Okay.
He's going to
And
fight for the people. He's going to fight for Americans, regular Americans like you and I.
He's going to fight for Elon Musk and other billionaires. I mean, do we not see that yet? I mean, how do we not? But here is
what are you? Who the fuck are the people that are supporting Kamala Harris? They're people that are flying around on their private jets that are also lecturing you about climate change. So, sorry, you can't the pot and the kettle black or whatever the fuck it is.
yeah, millionaires fighting with billionaires. We're just in the middle.
We're just in the middle.
Does nobody realize that? Anyway,
can we just
he's going to lose and he's going to be done. Okay. And once he's done, here's what's going to happen. He will rapidly fade away because he has no chance at this point. 4 years from now, he'll be 907 years old. There's no chance of him becoming president at 900 years old. This country will have moved on. And here is why this is the greatest thing that could possibly happen. MAGA, in and of itself, is a great movement full of great people who want to do great things in this nation that are being led by a moron and corrupt individual. When this is done, Vivek Ramaswamy kind of takes over. Even JD Vance kind of takes over. This whole movement will become better because here's the thing. Just imagine, and by the way, you guys don't have to say this out loud. You can just keep it in your brain thing. If you have one in your head, just keep it in your mind. Okay. Imagine what Josh Hawley has had to do to cuck for Donald Trump. Imagine what all of these smart people have had to do in cucking for Donald Trump to forward his lies to you. Just imagine that. Now imagine what happens when they don't have to. When they don't have to do that, what they can do is they can focus on the real. He's not going to be out here talking the Marxist, socialist, the communist, banana people, republic faces of the shoot her with 9 darts in the arrow in her butthole, Liz Cheney. You don't have to deal with the madness that goes with Donald Trump. What you can do is you can then say, hey guys, guess what? We're going to remake this and we're going to talk about a policy. We're going to talk about, you know what? You guys voted for this person. Okay, fine. 4 years from now, you're going to come back to us, and this is what we're going to provide to you. This is what we're going to do. And it's not going to be led by Donald Trump and the craziness. It's going to be led by some very smart, very wise, Harvard educated, and by the way, being a Harvard educated person doesn't make you the super genius that you think that you are.
Whoa.
But it does mean that you've had a lot of money and you got the best education money
parents.
can buy.
Your parents had a lot of money.
Right. But you're going to see MAGA really become something special because right now it's driving around doing circles for photo ops in a garbage truck. That's what MAGA is, and that's what MAGA is doing. But when Donald Trump is not part of it, and it takes on a life of its own, and there's real people with real solutions to real problems, then MAGA will become what we all hope, which is a better America. That's I'm a fan of MAGA and the people, just not Donald Trump.
Honestly, like, man, you flipped a 180 just in 1 week because we agreed that MAGA was going to turn into Maha, the movement that we all think.
I'm not sure of that, but yeah, like, I would like to see it.
I'm with you, and it's going to happen because Trump is going to landslide, and Kennedy is going to get in there and get rid of seed oils and all the. Dude, at the end of the fucking day, like the fact that like that didn't concern everybody, like when this came up and said like, well, shit, let's just stop being lazy and let's get rid of the bullshit. Like, can we just do that collectively and just all agree? Like, let's just stop.
Fuck that. If we can exercise on our couch, we'll do that. Oh, America. Oh, damn it. But yeah, you're right. Tallow is what he calls it. That's, everything was cooked in tallow before we switched to seed oil. Seed oil is not good for us.
Have you had tallow? Is it good?
I don't even know what the fuck it is. Like I just use the word. I have no idea. Matter of fact, yesterday I was thinking about I should look that up so I know what the fuck I'm talking about because I don't know why he's saying it. TALLOW.
And then I think it may be, let's see, tallow for cooking. I think it might be time to maybe look at some charts and figure out. It's literally just the thick fat, but it's beef.
Lard.
So like, yeah, it's just beef fat.
Lard. Fucking lard.
Yeah, you heat it up and you go.
So yeah, there's plenty of problems, and it would be great if we really tackled that. And you know what? I can tell you right now, by the way, there is a possibility that Donald Trump is going to win. I mean, there's a real distinct possibility. I don't think he is. I think it's going to be the end of Donald Trump, and it's going to be the beginning of
JD Vance,
Super MAGA, if you want, where they're smart and they're not being led around by a dum-dum. You know what I mean? Like it's going to change the dynamic, I think, of the way that we're doing this, and it would be very, very cool to see. In my opinion, that's how you start. That's how you build a consensus that will win. When Donald Trump is done, when he has no more shots, when he has no more chances to stand on the stage and talk about the socialist Marxists and blah 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 blah, and forward lies that you can just look through. And look, at some point, there's a lot of people who fell for a lot of lies who are going to have to account for those lies, not to me, not to anybody else but themselves. They're going to look at themselves in the mirror and be, oh my God, I can't believe I fell for this shit. There's there's videos, there's audio recordings right now of Jeffrey Epstein all over Twitter right now talking about Donald Trump, not just Jeffrey Epstein doing weird stuff, talking about Donald Trump. Okay. And MAGA was started off as Comet Ping Pong and Pizza. It started off as some of these Bernie bros coming across the aisle because they don't want to see that happen to kids. They don't want the Wayfair on the kids. Remember, there's a lot of made up shit that was happening here. And the next thing that you know, we find out that, and it's going around. It's in his voice. It's all this. And they've been holding on to it for years. This guy has been out here. I'm best friends with Donald Trump. He was banging Melania on the Lolita Express. We were on this all the time. Like he's
That's
telling,
good for him. He was banging his wife. Hey, did you hear the Doug?
Among other people, by the way, all you got to do is go out and listen. It's all available on X. Elon's not suppressing it. He's just ignoring it.
Did you hear the quote? So Doug Emhoff, whatever, Kamala's wife,
Yeah,
husband, the lady first,
the first man.
Gay. Anyway, in his speech, he had said something about how she just put her head down and got to work like she always does. Anyway, let's look. So I just saw somebody in the chat. Shout out, by the way, really quick. Everybody that is watching, I sure do appreciate you guys. If you are watching on X, make sure you hit the heart. If you're watching on YouTube, smash the like. I saw a bunch of comments. I do want to say, hey, what's up, Ellie? What's up, Mike? What's up, Neil? What's up, everybody? We got B Frank in the house, my guy. I saw something 67,000, right? 67.
Yeah.
84 right now, dropping. I've got a big order at 65,900. What do you think about pulling up some charts and seeing what we think? Now, everybody knew it was going to be volatile. It was election week. Volatility. Now, if you've got your spot positions locked and loaded, I wouldn't change a thing. Maybe buy some more. We're dipping. But the whole thing, one of the things that I had heard is if and this was actually in the Forbes article, and they were saying it was kind of like, what are the cases, like if Trump wins, we should expect an $80,000 to $90,000 Bitcoin over the next 2 months. If Kamala wins, we should expect a $50,000 Bitcoin over the next couple months. So almost immediately.
You can't suppress stupid people. So when you hear stupid shit like that, all you can do is like point and laugh at those guys and say, unfollow these fucking idiots.
Well, what do you mean? The thing about, no, that's a Forbes article. And so like the only reason I take that into consideration is because how well they're plugged into Wall Street. And you know how this is all just a fucking game anyway. It's all a Ponzi. And so like you take there's certain people that when you listen to their shows or you read the articles that have come out from certain people, that they've got that TradFi influence and it's being kind of like fed through the system that way. So like it's, they're just like little subtle hints or whatever. And so like I wouldn't take it. I do still take all this shit for a grain of salt, but do I think that if Kamala Harris wins the presidency this week that we'll see a nuke down to 50K? I don't know, man. If we do, it'll be a wick. It'll be a flash crash,
So we have never, Forbes said the same thing when they wanted Trump to get elected in 2020. And what happened? That didn't happen. It didn't come close to happening. The bull run happened because what you're getting is, and by the way, what we're confusing is we're saying Forbes magazine said that. No, some asshole at Forbes magazine said that, and he might be wrong. The same as some of these other people who write these articles, they just might be wrong.
Derek Saul is Forbes staff, and he has been covering markets for Forbes News since 2021.
So he wasn't even the one that fucked it up in 2020 and said that if Joe Biden is elected, we're going down, 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 down. The point to it all is, it doesn't matter who the president is. The investors don't care who the president is. For anybody who thinks that, please click the idiot button on the side of your head and reset, because it doesn't work that way. What they care about is the certainty of the market. What they care about as investors is what is if I go to KamalaHarris.com or DonaldJTrump.com, if I go to those websites, what are the policies that I can see? Now that I know who the president is, which one of these are we going to get? And once I know which one we're going to get, I can start to place my bets based on those. And I'm not taking my money out because Kamala Harris got elected, because it just doesn't make any sense. Because guess what? This right now is the number one economy in the world. Is there problems with it? Yeah, there really are. We're paying way too much for shit we shouldn't be paying a lot for. But everybody went through the same COVID that Donald Trump didn't handle properly the first time, when he put us into our rooms for 2 weeks to stop the spread. And
That
then he
was
told us if we
Fauci.
just,
What do you? He's not a scientist.
who
Like,
did he work for?
we got to take Fauci's word. Fauci's been working for the government since like the 70s. He was part of the AIDS thing.
He didn't take anybody's word for anything at any point at any
Fauci's
time, and he
criminal.
fired all
Fauci
those
was leading the
people
whole thing.
when he
Fauci's
didn't
a
like
criminal.
them.
Fauci's he should be tried for fucking crimes against humanity. If
Right.
I'm, if we're talking about COVID, like, which we shouldn't say too many times, because that doesn't usually work out well for the channel. I get it shut down when it happens. But like, honestly, like, Fauci is the one who should be tried for crimes against humanity about the whole thing. Him and Bill Gates, in my opinion.
Okay. I are they right? Are they wrong? Listen, if you didn't like those 1.7 million people that died, they were right. If you did like them, they were wrong. I mean, it's it, did they not follow science? Did they
Oh,
get way too out
yeah.
of control?
Yeah,
Yes.
bullshit,
I
bullshit. COVID was in February of 2020 after Biden had already taken the office. Bullshit. I just called bullshit.
January of 21 is when Joe Biden took the office. January 20 of 2021. Sorry.
Right. You're probably right. You're right. Yeah. All right. Fuck you.
The point is, Donald Trump took he took the advice of these people. He shut down the world for 2 weeks. We didn't do it.
Well,
Joe Biden didn't do it. Only one person did it. And by the
can't,
way,
honestly,
when we look at statistics, you guys grade Donald Trump on a
blame that
curve.
on Trump. You literally can't blame that on Trump. You cannot.
No, I can't blame COVID on Donald Trump. I can blame the handling of COVID on Trump.
2 weeks to stop the curve or whatever the thing was at that point. Like, you can't play. That was the advice that was being given to him from Fauci.
The buck only stops here for everybody but MAGA and Donald Trump.
I fucking love you, dude. Let's look at some charts. Let's look at Bitcoin, because it's dumping. I want to know, is my 65.9 number is, oh, you got thing. That's right here.
Yeah. I think your number is a little bit too high. If you look at the fib retracement that happened a little while back for this move right here, and then this big impulse move coming here, if you look at it on a longer term, then I think that the next step is a fall down to 65,444, which would be right here. And the reason that I'm pretty confident in that move right there is because that green line is the 50 MA. And one of the things that we like to do is we like to come to the 50 MA, as you see right here, and then we bounce strong off of it. 50 MA, we bounce strong off of it. If we're in a bullish mode, and we are currently in a bullish mode. So what I would suspect that's going to happen is we're going to have a move to the 65.4 right here. Set your buy orders, set your longs right in here, and then boom, we're going to be off like a rocket. Again, it doesn't matter who the president is. What matters is the certainty of knowing who the president is. And if we know that, then we can set our risk accordingly. So 65.4 looks like the area. Now, here's the next question. How do we feel about it when we get there? If we don't feel good about it when we get there, then what's going to happen is we slip into this golden zone right here. And that, by the way, is right where the 200 SMA is right there. That's that purple line right here. So in the event that we don't stop right there at the 50, we could bounce down and then start going in between, like right in this little range right here down at 64. So if you're using a leverage play, use a low leverage play at this point. And by the way, if you do use a leverage play at this point, this is one that you're going to hold on to for a year. This is going to be your final stop when you get in right now. So a low leverage, nice play. And then maybe you want to set a couple of high leverage plays or something like that on little side hustles. Fine. But this long-term play right here, you put 50 grand with 3 to 5x in at this spot right here, and you are printing money for the next year. You know what I mean?
That's dude, and the people do that. My problem, I don't have the I just I see that there's too much fluctuation. Now, once you catch the bottom and it becomes out of that range 100%, but like you never truly know that you're out of that range until you're out of that range. And that PTSD of getting fucking wrecked because they wanted to do a liquidation event is something you always got to think about, though.
Well, and what you're trying to do is you're trying to catch that liquidation event at the bottom. I mean, that's what you're trying to do, and you're trying to time the market. This is what the market looks like right now. This is what the market looks like on the daily today, based on that move to 73,000. When we
Mhm.
come back over here and we look at, we come over here and we look at 2020. Now, for anybody who doesn't know, some of you are not going to like this. By the way, you might want to put your dirty little nasty fingers in your ears right now. But that time when Joe Biden got 7.7 million more votes than Donald Trump, because Donald Trump lost America 3 million jobs during his presidency and 3% GDP to the negative, that is absolutely bonkers and absolutely nuts. And it is crazy that, that'll happen. Like, I can't believe that Donald Trump lost that bigly. Anyway, so what happened was we had these red lines right here. By the way, you're seeing it actually playing out almost the same way. We had this
Uh-huh.
nice big, and by the way, it's green instead of red, but this candle wicked up to the top, gave us an all-time high or very close to that all-time high as we went into the election. Then we had this nice little dump right before the election. We had this nice little green candle on the day of the election, and then right after, when Joe Biden, let me add this one more time here. When Joe Biden absolutely and utterly annihilated Donald Trump and just beat the ever loving shit out, dunked on him like he was a 5'3" Muggsy Bogues going against Michael Jordan, just
Hey,
dunked on him,
Muggsy Bogues can still
right?
dunk, though.
And then here we go. This is what happened the day Biden won the election right here, and then boom, and then we had the certainty of the election, and then what do we get? We got this big ass candle up to 15,000. Then what did we get? We got a basic Fibonacci dump from the point to point to a perfect play right there into our golden zone, exactly where we're supposed to in the fib. And then boom, what happened? For the next month, we absolutely ripped. Now, where did we end up going? If you take it to the top over here, which was November 25, let's call it November 30, right? From there until there, after Joe Biden, and let me say this one more time. After Joe Biden absolutely
I'm gonna mute.
dunked on Donald Trump and beat him up
Say his name.
like an
Say
orange
his name
pill
again.
having blonde bitch. I mean,
What was his name?
treated him. Then here's what
What's his name
happened.
again?
Bitcoin went up right there, 49% by the end of the month.
What was the guy's name again?
I don't remember.
I'm gonna hit you with
Anyway,
the
Bitcoin ripped 49% under Joe Biden. Okay. It's absolutely bonkers. Okay. This is, when you start to zoom out and you start to look, this is the bull run right here. It didn't matter who the president was. You
No.
know
That
why?
we can agree
Because
on,
it
and I've
doesn't
talked
matter
about
who the
that.
president is.
It literally does not matter at all who becomes the president. The bull run
Right.
is still gonna happen. That is on. That is programmed in. That is math, baby.
Yes. Question is how far we go if that person is. What matters is how far. So if we just consider this, again, we're going from the bottom, and if we're assuming right now, we're assuming right now, this is the bottom right here. If we were to say the same thing would happen, and I think that 40% would probably be about the best we could hope for, right? But let's just assume 40% here. Let's look at 40 from this.
So
That's about $95,000 Bitcoin by the end of November. So that 90,000 that we're looking for, that's on tap. That's ready to go. And it
yeah.
doesn't matter who the president is.
I mean, that's that's the thing. When you talk about the hit and the trade, right? You time this thing right. And I put out a tweet today. It was kind of like that same thing, right? Like, the actual saying is it's not about timing the market, it's time in the market. However, I think that you could use your time in the market to help you time the market. You know what I mean? And so that's one of those plays where it's that same thing where if you understand what's happening, you understand where we're going, you understand where we're currently at and this little move that's going to play out, and you do hit it right. And I thought, earlier today I had been tracking and I had gotten to a trade at like I think 67 250, right? whatever it was, and it had gone up, and I ended up getting like $240 out of it. Nothing crazy, but like at the end of the day, I'm not trying to win home runs on every trade, right? Like I've taken my trading account from $1,000 up to almost 4,000 since October 1st, right? And now we're just getting ready to get cooking. And so the whole idea is, hey, I'm just going to keep stacking up some small wins now. But if I do catch one, like say we do get a little dip here down to the I don't really see the high 50s, to be honest with you. Low 60s, sure. So say we do catch that, and then you ride that thing up, and it immediately over the next couple of weeks, because like you said, by the end of November, could potentially be up until like the 80,000s or wherever. Did you have it at 94 or 84? What was it?
94. Yeah, 94.7.
Okay, you catch that trade, there's no reason to get out of it, right? Unless you want,
Right.
unless you want to take that capital and then just wait for the next dip, buy in, and then take the next leg up, or you just ride it the whole time. I don't know.
Yeah.
The whole thing about riding if we get a long period of sideways action, you're just getting fucking chewed up in funding fees, which sucks.
Yeah. By the way, somebody asked the question, why is my chart not set to the top of that move? And the reason for it is because the impulse move ended at 69,004. The impulse move went from here, right there, to right there before it started a corrective process. So we're basing it off of that. Now, if we wanted to, I can remove that and we can still be valid by using a reversal. Since we've gone from here back down, that, where do I expect it to go after that? We can use that. Or if it makes you feel better, we can go over here and we can check it out, from this context and say, well, if we just move it over here, then maybe, this right here up to, let me unlock it and move it up into this range right here. And it's going to look about the same. And you're going to see that we're just going to come into that golden zone. It's just going to kind of look the same way. But I think it's more important here to recognize that that was the impulse move, and that's where it ended. And then we spent 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 days before we reversed and went back up to it. And where did we bounce? We bounced off of that 382 line perfectly. And then what did we do? We went over here into the overage area immediately, dumped back down into the 236, and we've got the 50 coming in here at the 382 one more time. So there's that next big move. That's why I haven't moved it and I haven't changed it, was because that's the impulse move right there. And you can kind of just look at it from this context. And by the way, I have other ones set up for different scenarios on much longer time frames on different charts.
Okay.
Ultimately, this is where we're headed right here, 176,212. Bitcoin has always hit the golden ratio during a bull run from the previous top. And the previous top over here is 69.6 right here. So we are destined for 176,212. Otherwise, we will have broken the tradition of how the market pumps.
Jeez. I love that, man. I'm super excited. Now I'm hoping we get higher. I think like my bullish case for the bull runs, like I'm one of the 330 guys. I think that we're gonna get into the 300,000, even if it is just for a quick rip, whatever. I'm super excited about that. All right. Well, so 65,550, I think is that's where I'm drawing a line on my chart. And that's where I'm going to set an alert so that I can make sure, because at this stage in the game, like you don't want to just set it and forget it, right? Like you want to be making
No,
sure
in this stage of the game, you want to set one at 65.5 with low leverage. You want to set one at 65.5. The best thing that you could do was high money, low leverage at that point. So 65.5 would give you, at 5x, would give you enough leverage to take you down to like 55, 56,000. You know what I mean? Because it wouldn't be that much. So that would be the one to make that play on. After 65.5, that's, look, and by the way, if I did 2016 before, but if you go back to 2012 and you look at the election in 2012, the same thing happened. Nothing changes fundamentally. That when we get to that portion and we get the certainty of the market, it's going to rip. So we're going to get that explosive
you just want to
move.
know that it's that okay, it's been decided, we can move on, kind of thing. Because that's like the world will move on. And we've all talked about this, and we
Exactly.
make a lot of jokes. You and I make a lot of jokes about the political things on right here. Like, and I appreciate you, and it's been fun to do this during the political season. Next week we won't. Maybe we can talk a little bit about what's happening, but we move on with crypto. And it's been a fun conversation. There was somewhere else I was going with it, but at the end of the day, man, this has been fun, and it's all kind of for sport. And at the end of the day, crypto's gonna rip, and we're gonna have a bull run. And so I'm gonna try to do a trading competition. By the way, I don't know if that's something. I was talking to some of my Web3 breakfast guys. If that's something you'd be interested in, I'm gonna be working on getting some sponsors for that and everything over the next couple of days. See if I can set that up. Is that something you'd want to do?
Yeah. Is Nick doing it?
Nick Damati?
No. Fuck no. Crypto Keeper.
Oh, I'll ask him. Yeah, I would definitely ask him
Because he does crypto. He was doing Crypto Wars for a while.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be good. That'd be good to have him. Yeah. All right, I'll talk to him. I'll send him a message when we get off the show here.
Yeah. So to summarize, really, 176 to 212 in my mind is a lock. We're going to 175,000. Let's just call it. Whether Kamala's president or Donald Trump is president, we're going to 175,000. The question at that point becomes, how much money will get thrown at the market? Kamala will not be as robust in throwing money at the market. Donald Trump will. And he might not, you might have somebody like Jerome Powell who's there by appointment, shit like that. So you might not be able to have somebody in charge of the Fed because you want them to operate independently. So you may not, Trump may not have good control over that portion of the Fed monetary policy, but he will have control over, cutting checks to every American citizen. Like I think somebody posted the other day that Trump wants to give out $2,000 to every citizen when he's elected. And I joke, like, it's a vote buying scheme. Like, that's stupid. But that's right. That's another $1 trillion onto a deficit that I don't give a fuck about, by the way. I talk about it because it's a thing. And at some point we're going to have to account, but I don't give a fuck about that debt. I care about me. I care about you. I care about us. And I care about everybody watching this show, even this crybaby, be frank about it. I want him to succeed as well. I don't want him. Look, you get a whole bunch of money. You don't have to cry like a baby over here because you don't like something that I say. You know what I mean? So I want everybody to succeed. I want everybody to have that money. Donald Trump will throw more money. So I think that if Kamala is president, then we get between 175 to 225,000 as a top for Bitcoin, because we will wick above it. We've always wicked above it. We just always hit that golden ratio. But then beyond that, if Donald Trump is throwing money, if Donald Trump is throwing money there, then we're talking about $300,000, $350,000 Bitcoin.
Hey. You got that. You got the tokenization. You got a lot of things that could play into in all of that happening, and I'm all here for it, man. I'm here for everybody's like you, just everybody's life to change. That's what I want for me. That's why I am here. I'm here to become a Giga Chad millionaire. I don't need a girlfriend like the rest of you nerds do. Bleeves, you've got the same situation as I do. We got happy lives, man. But all these nerds down there, man, they gotta get their girlfriends. It'll happen for you guys. I know it will.
You solo dolos. Nerds.
Make sure you guys smash the like button if you're watching on YouTube. Hit the heart if you are watching on X. And if you Bleeves got a Facebook too. So what do you like? I know it's a like, right? On Facebook.
I don't know. I never go to it. I just broadcast on it, but like I never even go check out the channel.
I love that. All right. This is it. Tomorrow, we'll be back at 9 a.m. for more Web3 breakfast. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your evening. Bleeves, thank you for joining me. I love these Monday shows, man. I love chatting with you. We'll see you next week under Emperor Trump's regime. Let's go.
Potentially.
Let's get it. All right, brother. See you. Thank you.